The Indian economy has crossed a major milestone. India has overtaken Japan and become the fourth largest economy in the world. It is now worth more than $4 trillion. Japan has been pushed to the fifth position. The announcement came over the weekend. It was made by Niti Aayog. That's the Indian government's main think tank.
We are the fourth largest economy as I speak. We are a $4 trillion economy as I speak. And this is not my data, this is IMF data. India today is larger than Japan.
So India has swapped positions with Japan. Only three economies are ahead of India now. That's the United States, China and Germany. Number 1, 2 and 3. India is fourth. If this trajectory holds, India could surpass Germany within 3 years to become the third largest economy. So this is a significant milestone, both in terms of actual rankings and the overall perception of the Indian economy. The world has started looking at India differently. India is no longer just a major market, it is also a maker of goods. From phones to pharmaceuticals, from software to cars, India makes all of it and sells it to the world. In fact, Indian cars are being exported to Japan. A few decades ago, this would have been hard to imagine. For years, India has relied on Japanese cars. From the first Maruti 800 in the 1980s to the modern-day Hondas, Japanese cars have ruled Indian roads. But now Japan is buying cars made in India. It has become a top export destination for India's auto sector. Reports say shipments of Indian cars or cars made in India have nearly tripled in a year because major companies are making their cars in India. You're talking about the likes of Suzuki and Honda, again, both Japanese brands. They're using India as their global production base. Their factories in India are churning out cars for the Japanese market. So this is not just a trade story, this is a turnaround story, a signal that made in India is going global. And exports are only one part of this. One of India's key growth engines is domestic demand. It remains strong, and this will keep India's growth on track. Look at the IMF projection. The International Monetary Fund, it says that India will grow at 6.2% this year. Now, this is a slight dip from earlier projections, but it's still twice the global average. The world economy is still stuck around 3% growth, while India is tipped to grow at above 6%. India's Reserve Bank, Central Bank, the RBI, has released their own assessment. They have identified some positive trends. Inflationary pressures have eased, rural consumption is likely to strengthen, and the RBI is predicting a bumper harvest. That's because of a better than normal monsoon. Now, this should further help in containing food inflation. Add to this the rising opportunities on the world stage for India. The RBI says India is now seen as a quote-unquote connector country. What does that mean? What is a connector country? It means that it's a strategic node in global supply chains. It is already a major player in pharmaceuticals and IT services, and now it is moving into semiconductors, renewables, and defense manufacturing. Trade routes are shifting, alliances are being rewritten, and India is positioning itself in the middle of that change. In a fragmented global economy, stability matters, and right now that is what India is delivering. Having said that, some challenges still remain. Just last week, Donald Trump threatened both Apple and Samsung. He said if they make their phones outside the US, they could face an additional 25% tariff. And on multiple occasions, Trump has called out India.
It would be more. It would be also Samsung and anybody that makes that product. Otherwise, it wouldn't be fair. So they're going to be building plants here. But I had an understanding with him that he wouldn't be doing this. He said he's going to India to build plants. I said, that's okay to go to India, but you're not going to sell into here without tariffs. And that's the way it is.
Trump's statement could be tactical. It comes at a time when India is discussing a trade deal with the US. So the US president could simply be using these threats as leverage, as a way to extract concessions. But playing hardball can be a double-edged sword. India has room to maneuver. If the US plays hardball, there are other trade deals in the pipeline. India has already signed one with the UK. Talks are progressing with the EU and New Zealand. So New Delhi is working on options. It has momentum on its side. The Indian economy is now worth over $4 trillion. It has a growing export base, a resilient rural market, and a demographic advantage that remains largely untapped. India is no longer a laggard in the global economy. It is on course to becoming a leader.